how's it going? It's me, Betty Jean. Today's video is going to be another ranking my last 10 palettes. It is that time again. I have tested and tried out and accumulated 10 palettes recently, so I'm here to just kind of share my thoughts, kind of recap on everything, kind of tell you why I like some things more than others, all that jazz. I also am testing a lot of palettes in the near future, so there will probably be another one sooner rather than later, so just stay tuned. I'm trying out lots of things lately. As always, I initially got this video idea from Annette's Makeup Corner. I'll have her channel linked down below for you. And of course, I did film this look. It should already be up on my Instagram and YouTube Shorts by the time this video goes up. And as far as my accessories go, I just have this choker from, I think, Shop Sun & Co. And this beanie is 1,000 years old. I have no clue where it's from. So yeah, without further ado, let's just hop in and rank these last 10 palettes. All right, I got my stack here. In typical fashion, these were all good. This was really hard. When I tell you I moved the order of these around so many times, like even the top ones, the bottom ones, everything in the middle, like every single thing I talk about today was in a different spot at different moments in time. But I ended up just really trying to zero in on like which specific color stories I liked more, which specific formula spoke to me more, which ones am I more likely to reach for, which ones have a theme that I'm enjoying, and they're all just really good. This was a really good roundup. Lots of fun, festive holiday things in this wrap up as well, but I did end up coming to my conclusion of the order I would like to place these in, but as always, like, don't get offended if you're obsessed with like the bottom palette. It doesn't mean it's bad. It just comparatively to the other things for me, it just ended up in 10th place, but this was a good roundup. I'm excited to share them. If you think I'm forgetting something, I promise you I'm not. It was either in the last ranking and you missed it. I have it, I just haven't played with it yet and it'll be coming soon, or I just simply don't have it and you must be mistaken, my friend. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get to ranking, starting it off with number 10. Number 10, I'm giving to the new Happy Go Lucky from Ensley Reign for no reason other than the fact that it is a mostly neutral focused little mini 6-pan palette. I do love that they're doing these small palettes. I think it's a really great way for the brand to kind of branch out. It allows people who maybe are not wanting to spend the higher price point on something smaller. Maybe you just don't want a giant palette, which is valid. I prefer smaller palettes myself. 9 to 15 is kind of my sweet spot. I don't like anything too obnoxiously big, but you know, it changes depending on the palette. I do really like the 2 shifty shades that are in here, and I do like that you can kind of lean more warm or cool depending on what your vibe is with this palette, but just because I'm very much not a neutral girly, I prefer like grungy tones or bold color. This just isn't going to be one I gravitate toward all the time, but I have been enjoying that they've started this little 6-pan mini woodland series. This is the second one. Very excited to see what is to come in the future. And yeah, that's why this one landed here. No fault to the palette itself. I think the quality is great. I think it's cute. It's just not going to be my go-to palette. Number 9, this one I went back and forth on quite a few times. I'm still unsure. I feel like really the next 4 I could have put in really any order. But I landed on this one here just because the specific ultra curated themes of the ones going forward just pushed them over the edge a little bit. But I am still really excited about this one. I'm wearing the palette I'm about to talk about today. I'm excited for the collaborator. I think this is a really cool just overall collection. But the palette itself, compared to the other ones, it just got knocked down a little bit, and I'll explain why. So I gave the number 9 slot to the Lynn's Makeup Looks collab with Blend Bunny. It's a very cute 15-pan palette, Blend Bunny's smallest palette so far if you exclude the multi-chrome quad. It is a cutie little colorful explosion. We have 2 ultra shiny shimmers. Like I said, I'm wearing this palette today for this look, and I think it's very fun. Obviously, I love color. I was just explaining that I'm a colorful kind of girl. My only hang up is I don't really gravitate toward like a rainbow palette all the time. As much as I love color, just for me and my colorful makeup taste, I'm just so much more likely to reach for something that has more of a special curated theme or a vibe or something like that versus just a rainbow palette. And I will say, I feel like this is more than just a rainbow palette. There's lots of funky, unique tones that you don't see in the traditional Roy G. Biv rainbow. But at the end of the day, it is just kind of another rainbow palette. I think it's beautiful. I adore Blend Bunny's formulas. Their shimmers are so beautiful. Honestly, I wish this palette had more of them because these 2 toppery, sparkly, shimmery shades are just so pretty. But alas, this is where we're at. I think the tones are super fun. We get a really good combination of like grungy weirdness mixed with very bright, intense shades. It's very cool. It's very fun. And in another set of palettes, this would have been ranked higher potentially. It's just everything else has such a specific theme that I'm very, very drawn to. Don't take it the wrong way. This is not a bad palette. I'm thrilled to see that Blend Bunny has ventured into smaller palettes. I really hope we continue to see that. I will say I wish that the brand would have spaced out the collaborations a little bit further from each other, just because I feel like they kind of went one on top of another this year, and it would have been nice to see these like have more of their own moment before moving on to the next. But I am still very proud of the collaborator. I think this is super, super cool. It's fun to see how these different collaborators have done their own take on different palettes. This one in particular is also magnetic, so if you want to move them around or mix and match with the cake liner palette on the other side of this collaboration, you absolutely could. So huge congrats to the brand and the collaborator. It's just the other themes definitely speak to me more. Number 8, I decided to give to my Colourpop Frosty the Snowman palette. I just think this is so cute. Like I was saying about a theme. I love a theme, and this is just so precious. I love the classic Frosty Christmas special cartoon. I watched it every year. I still tend to watch it every year, even as an adult. It's just adorable, and I love how frosty, wintry, iridescent this palette is. So cool toned, so incredibly beautiful. I think this is just stunning. I'm super, super happy with it. I think it is just fun and playful. And Colourpop's formula, while I think it's fine, it's nothing outstanding compared to some other formulas, even compared to like the Blend Bunny one. Like I prefer Blend Bunny's formula, but when I was really gathering my thoughts for this ranking, I just love the fact that this is such a specific theme that is very near and dear to my heart, and it really captured that essence very well. So that's kind of where I landed with this one. I didn't really want to rank it any higher just because formula-wise, everything else just beat it out. Even the Blend Bunny beat it out formula-wise, but I just love this theme, so I wanted to rank it as high as I could. But everything else did beat this one as well, just based on quality and overall vibes. Ranked number 7, again, on the topic of a theme, I decided to go with the Nomad Polar Express palette. It's just so cute, so precious. I love that it captures the feel of the just classic Polar Express essence so well. It's a very cozy color story, very much a like hanging out in a cabin, getting all snuggled up. Lots of fun pops of like cool and warmth. It's a really cute one. The main reason this one ended up not getting ranked higher is just because it is kind of like a half neutral, half colorful situation. And again, as much as I will do that, I prefer just color. I'm not gonna reach for the neutrals super, super often in this palette, but that's not to really take away from the palette because that does match the essence of this palette. But the other color stories just offer more of what I'm looking for as a general rule. So this is beautiful. I love Nomad's formulas. The mattes are so blendable and so buildable and beautiful to work with. And these metallics are so pretty. Like I've loved the looks I've created with this. I think they're so good. This one just got beat out a little bit. And as always, I'll have all of these palettes linked down below for you, as well as any discount codes if I have any. I've also played with all of these palettes most of the time, multiple times, so you can just check like my Instagram, my YouTube for some inspo. Moving on to number 6, kind of rounding out the bottom of this ranking in particular. I decided to give number 6 to the Rosy Jingle palette from Odin Eyes. It's one of their holiday palettes from this year. I feel like this one very much is capturing the like very trendy pink mist, pastel mist, like the very cutesy vibe that I'm seeing in decor a lot. I feel like the pastel pinky Christmas is very trendy in decor this year. I'm seeing it everywhere when I go into like home goods. I feel like this captures it perfectly. So I do feel like this is very much just a like colorful palette at the end of the day. It's very much giving springtime, but it also does give that like pastel-y Christmassy feel to me. It just depends on how you want to look at it, you know? I also do appreciate that there is a lot of versatility with this palette as far as like, you can really do a lot of things. Like you aren't stuck in just like a Christmassy box when you play with this palette, which I think is pretty cool. Love Odin Eyes formulas. I love the way all these colors play together. I think it's very fun, very cutesy. I love all the different shimmers. This is very much going to be a little bit more of a lighter, airier kind of palette. You're not going to get a whole lot of like darkness and drama and depth. But I feel like for what it is, it's exactly what it needs to be. I love these pops of color. I love the lavenders and purples and yellows together. I think it's so, so cute. And I've had fun with this one. But the remaining palettes just mean more to me. Moving on to the top 5 of this roundup, I decided to give number 5 to the Silvery Bliss, the other Odin Eyes holiday palette. This one is so pretty. To me, it's very much capturing like mountain man, flannel, hanging out in a cabin, drinking a hot cocoa, like all the classic traditional red shades. Very cozy, a lot more dark and dramatic. It's giving a lot more of that like more classic Christmas feel. Like if you're focusing more on just like the red part of traditional Christmas, this is very much giving that. I love the pops of like the muted pinky tone. I love the purple, the gold. It's very pretty. I've really, really enjoyed playing with this one. This one does speak to me just a tad bit more than the Rosy Jingle, just because I feel like this captures that cozy essence that I'm really into right now for the holiday season. So yeah, this one's number 6. Again, I love the formulas. I think they're so beautiful. I love seeing that they've been doing these holiday palettes every year. I'm already excited to see what they do next year if they continue doing so. Ranked number 4, I am giving to the Dede Signature Classic Autumn. Dede Signature has been really revamping their formulas over the last few months, I would say, and this one and the Jingle Bell Ruby, which I'll talk about here in a moment, these were palettes that I believe launched last year, and she recently re-released them with the new formula. I never had them originally, so I'm so happy to have these now with the new formulation. I love these palettes. They're some of my favorites that the brand has done. So this is the Classic Autumn. It's very much giving, you know, classic autumn vibes. It's very much like Thanksgiving harvest, especially with the food shade names. It's very cute. I love these grungy autumnal tones, and these shimmers are so just like rich and metallic and eye-catching. They are so, so pretty. I'm very happy to not only have this palette because I really enjoy this color story, but also with the new formula because I think they're beautiful. It's really been nice to see how this brand has like continued to evolve and grow. And I think these palettes are so stinking cute, and I'm really, really excited to have them. This one almost got ranked a little bit higher, but these top 4 really were just so good. I moved them around so many times, but I ended up settling on this. The top 3, I feel like just scooted by just a little bit more, whether it was a theme or colors. But this was a high contender for sure. Moving on to number 3, I decided to give it to the Just a Taste palette from Unearthly. This is their newest launch. Very much an obvious vampire vibe, very in your face. But I really love this color story. I feel like it's an interesting take on a vampire palette. The way my brain separates this palette is we have like the very classic, almost Halloween half on this side, and then very like grungy winter Christmas on this side. Love the different tones, lots of really fun, murky, deep shades, so many beautiful, beautiful, beautiful shimmers, so metallic and smooth and shifty, sparkly. I think this is so pretty. I love the tones so, so much. Again, this one was a contender to get ranked even higher than number 3, but the top 2 skirted by just a little bit, but I'm really happy with this. I've loved how Unearthly has really stepped up the formulas over time as well. It's been so nice to see, and this one is just such a hit. Definitely one of my favorites the brand has ever done. Moving on to number 2, I'm actually so stoked to be placing this in the number 2 slot because prior to me trying this palette, any palettes I've tried from this brand before, I felt just very indifferent about. Like, I never thought they were bad, the other ones I've tried, but like sometimes the shimmers just weren't up to par for my standards, and this one really stepped it up for me. It is the Spellbound palette from Jolie Beauty. This is a monster of a palette, so, so big. I know earlier I mentioned a giant palette isn't normally my thing, but sometimes a palette can make an exception for me. And this palette is one of those exceptions. I think this is beautiful. I love a blue, green, purple color story. I think it is so cool. I love a magical, witchy vibe. That always makes me happy. I love the quality of the shimmers that are in here. Sometimes in their previous palettes that I've tried, they're very like subtle satiny, which is just not my vibe. I need like either an intense metallic or a really shifty shade or really sparkly. And sometimes they were just too lackluster. These are all brilliant, like so shiny, so special. I'm very, very, very happy with the arrangement of these, and the mattes are beautiful to work with. I've had a great time playing with this one. Is it bigger than I typically prefer in a palette? Yes, but I feel like everything in this palette is stunning, so I can't even really complain. I've only tried 3 palettes from the brand so far in my life, but this is definitely my favorite by a long shot. I love seeing how much they've stepped up the shimmer game. And finally, ranked number 1. Once I really decided on my final ranking for this video, the number 1 spot just made sense to me. It's the other Dede Signature palette I mentioned earlier, the Jingle Bell Ruby. She is so cute. I just love it so, so much. These colors are everything. I feel like it's a really fun take on a Christmas color story with the red and the green, but done in such a fun and unique way that it doesn't box you into only using this like on Christmas Day. You know what I mean? I feel like the tones are so cool. I love that it's kind of a mixture of like reds and berry tones on this side, and then very like bright green, darker green, peacocky teal. We have such a fun combination. I've had an absolute blast playing with this palette. I think it is so, so pretty. This one's a winner. For sure. I think it is so, so good. Again, it's just been really cool to see how much this brand has grown and evolved, and this is my favorite from them so far, but their next release really does appeal to me a lot. I haven't played with it yet, but just stay tuned because I'm very excited to dive in. And yeah, that about wraps it up for this ranking of my last 10 palettes. This was a really good batch of palettes. This was very hard to figure out what I liked more than others in a lot of these cases, but I'm pretty happy with my final roundup. I would love to hear your thoughts. Have you tried any of these? Do you want any of these? Did my ranking surprise you in any way? I would love to know. If you made it to the end of this video, leave your last 10 most recently used emojis. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps my channel out a lot. And if you're not already, you can follow me over on Instagram and BATTYBEAN there as well. Also, if you want to, you can subscribe. I'm posting most days over here. And if you want to, you can hop over to my second channel. It'll be in my description box if you want some extra content. And you can also join my channel memberships. The link to sign up is also down below. There's a couple different tiers with a couple different perks, and I'd love to have you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, bye.